Hey guys, it's me, Fusion What Ifs, and today I'm going to be doing What If Deku Learned the Flying Raijin Part 3. Part 2 should have come out like 2 hours before this. I'm kinda sorry I didn't post in like the last few days. But yeah, it's just because I seem to the app I use to usually edit my videos and all of that, yeah, that was sort of malfunctioning for 2 days, so I had to sort of like wait it out. But yeah, it should be good after that. My voice might sound a bit weird like always, cause yeah, inconsistent recordings equals my voice starts to get higher and higher, and I'm not exactly sure why, but I hope it's not annoying. But anyways, that's pretty much it, and yeah, you guys should probably watch out for tomorrow. I'm gonna be posting or premiering 2 more videos, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Without further ado, play my intro. Okay, now let's get straight into it. Okay, so pretty much we start off the day after the hero versus villains. Okay, Izuku and Bako are walking to school like usual. They enter class, and there they see Aizawa. Right, Aizawa waits for everyone else to come in because class has just started. And then he starts to go over the performance, right? He pretty much consists of telling everyone their faults. And when he reaches Bakugo and Izuku, he just tells them that they need to limit the damage that they're doing, and they need to do this a lot faster. For example, even though Bakugo was a villain, breaking walls was not exactly the smartest idea, and also breaking the structure itself, because the building could collapse, killing him and the hero, and that would be counterproductive. Well, if they have a bomb, I wouldn't really call it counterproductive, but hey. So anyways, that's pretty much what happens. They go through class a bit, and this is when Aizawa then announces that they're going to be doing something very important, right? This causes a sort of fear to come out of everyone because, first day of school and they're already doing exams that they could have been expelled in. So what is really important? And Aizawa then explains that they're going to have to pick a class president, right? And that's what they do. Everyone just starts yelling that they want to be class president, class president. Honestly, I'm not sure what's so good about class president. It's like a bunch of work. But yeah. And it reaches the point where Ida asks everyone to like quiet down and that Momo should make, papers and pen. Pretty much that's what happens. And the votes are in. Izuku, who has 3 votes, ends up becoming class president with Momo, who has 2 votes. And then they walk up to the stage. Izuku gives his speech first. He's like, "Thank you for electing me. I'll make sure I'll be a good class president. You guys don't have to worry about anything." He shines his, 10 million watt smile, and everyone is, they're assured. Then we have Momo, who brings out a whole piece of paper, and it's like fully written on, right? Like, it's not even single spaced or single lined. So it's just this whole segment. And everyone listens for it, they listen for it, but it's kind of reluctant. Pretty much after that, they head to lunch. And when they head to lunch, pretty much the lunch just pretty much just consists of Bakugo, Kirishima, I'ma say Mina, Izuku, Ochako, Ida. That's pretty much their whole little group, right? So they all have lunch. And they're just chatting it up, honestly. This is when, Izuku brings up, "Hey, Ida, you have the same last name as this hero, Ingenium, do you know?" And this is when Ida obviously starts to explain that Ingenium is like his brother and like, he's trying to keep the family line. So Izuku's kind of impressed. He was gonna, keep on talking and, chatting until this alarm goes off. Everyone looks and he's like, "Huh?" And this is when some of the upperclassmates, right, start running around, and everyone else does too, because they follow examples, are a bunch of sheep. But anyways, this is when Izuku stops one of them and asks, "Hey, what's going on?" And this is when the student says, "Oh, this is an alarm that goes off whenever we've been like infiltrated or like villains. Never in my 3 years of being in UA has this ever happened. And he just starts running again, right? Izuku looks outside and he sees that pretty much everyone is just reporters. The reporters that he saw outside even, which I forgot to mention. But yeah, so pretty much he throws a kunai and he lands directly where Ida would have been in the cannon. And he just starts yelling, "Hey guys, you should really calm down, it's just the reporters." They look around and they look outside and they finally see it's just reporters. So they were like, oh, okay, I guess it's my fault, our fault. Izuku was, kind of just looking at them. And, they were just embarrassed because, UA students running around like pandemonium. Come on. What the hell? Sorry. But anyways, that's pretty much what happens. And we continue to the point where... we continue to the point that they get back into class, and everyone's feeling pretty happy that they elected Izuku as president, because hey, he's a pretty good president, not gonna lie. So anyways, after that, Aizawa tells them that in pretty much a week's time they should be going to the USJ. Everyone is excited because they're all thinking it's Universal Studios of Japan, but it's actually the unforeseen simulation joint, but they don't really know that. So a week passes, and they get on a bus. While on this bus, Froppy, or Asuyi or Suyu, whatever the hell you call her, talks to Izuku and then asks, "Hey Izuku, what's your quirk? You said it's this sort of ceiling thing, but like, how exactly does it work?" And Izuku, who was pretty fine giving a demonstration, pulls out a scroll. Right, he pulls out the scroll from the pouch that he usually keeps on his right leg, and he then opens it up, and everyone sees this sort of circle with seals around it, right? And he then explains that his quirk gave him sort of energy, right? And he can use his energy to sort of activate the seals. This is to prevent him from just accidentally activating whenever he just touches it or stuff like that, right? So they were intrigued, and this is when Izuku sort of just puts his hand on the scroll, and then with a tiny puff of smoke appears 3 kunai. And he said this seal is specifically a storage seal. It's meant to, hold things. It can even hold food, but the food will still grow quite moldy after a while. It's just that it preserves it a lot quicker and a lot better. Kind of like a refrigerator, but, with no cold. And everyone is, just pretty much surprised. And, they're like, And this is when Froppy's about to, bring up his teleporting. But Aizawa quickly comes in and he's like, "Hey guys, we're here, get off the damn bus." And everyone is like, "Oh damn." So they just get off the bus, and while getting off the bus, they walk in, right? Izuku obviously got a weird feeling from this place, but he couldn't put a finger on it, but he just lets it go. They walk in and they meet Space Hero 13. I'm not sure whether or not 13 is a he or a she, and I don't feel like checking it up, so I'm gonna just call her I'm just gonna refer to he or she as she. So he pretty much starts to explain about quirks and how dangerous they can be, explaining that even though her quirk can save people, it can easily kill too. Izuku, who can somewhat relate to this because he's not really, but he can somewhat relate to it because some of the seals he create, like the explosion seal, up close, it will kill you. Like did you see what happened to this one explosive seal that Madara stuck on a guy in the 4th Ninja War? Damn, this dude blew up. Damn, I'm throwing on a tangent. But anyways, that's pretty much what happens. And Izuku can sort of sympathize with it. This goes on for like a good 3 minutes until a portal opens up in the middle of the battlefield, in the middle of the USJ, right? When this portal opens up, there appears multiple upon villains, like hundreds of them. And Izuku looks, and this is when Aizawa was like, "Shit, we've been infiltrated." And he tries to contact the UA, but apparently the signal's been jammed. So he tells Kaminari to go work on that, right? And he jumps down and starts taking care of the villains. Izuku immediately turns to Ida and says, "Ida, run back to UA." And he's like, "What?" And it's like, "Ida, I forgot to set a kunai there, so I can't go or mark. So you need to run back to UA and get All Might." Ida just nods his head and he runs off, right? This is when a wisp of black smoke appears, suddenly forming into sort of body, right? Before he even has a chance to talk, Bakugo rushes in and hits it. And unlike Kana, he actually hits it because he sees the metal piece and it's like, that's probably its body. Because staying with Izuku has increased his intellect. And this is when he hits it, right? This actually causes damage, causing him to scream. But he quickly teleports and then reappears in front of everyone, right? And before anyone can do anything, he teleports them all the way, separating all of them, right? We turn to Izuku, who had just fallen into the what's it called? Yeah, who had just fallen into the water area of the USJ, right? This is when he's about to get attacked by a villain, right? And he actually just considers pulling on a kunai and just, swinging it at the shark. But before he can do that, a tongue wraps around him, pulling it up. This is when he sees Asui. He thanks her and they land on the boat, right? Apparently the villains don't know their quirks, because if Asui is here, then that means that they didn't actually do their research, which means that they have the advantage of surprise. This is when Izuku turns towards them and then says that he's pretty much going to just leave the villains. They're not really their problem. So what Izuku pretty much does is that more or less he throws an explosive seal onto the water, causing it to erupt, right? He then tells Madara to throw his balls into the center, and he does. It very much does what happened in the canon, actually, with Izuku's Salware Smash and the balls. No, pause. But actually, it would be on the same scale, because this is going to be one of Izuku's, actually, how am I going to explain it? It's one of Izuku's stronger paper bombs, right? So it does actually do the same effect. This is when he grabs Tsuyu and Ochako under his arms. Tsuyu and Mineta under his arms, throws kunai and teleports there, right? As he gets there, he sees that Bakugo finally arrived with Kirishima, right? Him and Bakugo just looked at each other, flash a grin, and they just start going at the villains, right? Everyone can't believe their eyes, right? On one side, there's this blonde kid with spiky hair that's completely destroying all of them. And then on the right, and on the other side, we just see this emerald flash on Izuku, who seems to be making multiple after images of just teleporting, reappearing, and it seems almost like if it was Minato himself. And people are just afraid because these two kids seem beyond their level. Like they seem like pro heroes. So villains start backing up, right? Almost trying to run away, but they can't. Izuku and Hako would keep on catching them until eventually they're all knocked out, right? At this point, Shigaraki would have been so mad, right? He would have started scratching his neck and he'd be like, you cheaters. And he would have told Kirigami to bring in the Nomu. The Nomu comes in and they see this gigantic beast rivaling All Might in height and buffness with its brain exposed. And it then releases a loud screech. Everyone covers their ears because it's so loud. And this is when it goes directly for Aizawa, right? Izuku, who had actually seen this, would have thrown a kunai, grabbed Aizawa, and moved out of the way. They would then see that the Nomu was actually just planning to tackle Aizawa, as it just seemed to have kept on going and hit the wall. Taking this chance, Izuku decides that he's going to, throw a kunai, place a paper bomb, and then teleport back, right? He sets it off, and it actually blows off the Nomu's left arm. He feels kind of bad, but, he knows this thing isn't human. So, what? And this is when it regenerates, and Shigaraki's you cheaters can't do anything against this. He's the symbol of despair, the anti-symbol of hope. He's the one that's gonna kill All Might. And everyone freezes up. Kill All Might? You guys need to understand. All Might in their society is like a god, right? So someone being able to kill him couldn't be, right? But Izuku actually thinks it's possible, right? So he's not taking any chances, right? I keep on saying right. But anyways, he looks towards Bakugo and he says, Flying Raijin, third step. And, Bakugo, who had actually understand this, would have just nodded his head, right? He would have started charging up an explosion in his arms, as Izuku would have rushed towards the Nomu. and thrown multiple kunai, right? At this point, the Nomu was actually out of the wall, and he was somewhat in between the middle of the USJ, and actually started targeting the Aizawa again because, of his quirk. But Izuku would have actually thrown a bunch of kunai and would have kicked it back, right? He would have been teleported from kunai to kunai, slashing it, slashing it, slashing it, until finally he appears directly behind kunai and teleports him in front of Bakugo, right? Bakugo, who had been charging up an explosion, finally lets loose, and it completely destroys the Nomu, right? It's like its complete top side is just blown off, right? Like not even guts, it's just like ash. And this is when Izuku's like, good job, dude. And they fist bump, right? And they walk away thinking, hey, they're done, right? But just when they see Shigaraki laugh again, and it's like, look behind you. They look behind and they just see this monstrosity, and they're like, how? We took care of you. And that's how a loud screech, and it actually hits Bakugo. And this, I'm not gonna lie, Nomu has some power, and when it hits Bakugo, Bakugo goes flying, right? You can hear an audible crack. He didn't actually break a bone, but something there cracked. And Izuku, who is, immensely worried, flashes over to Bakugo, because, he has a mark on Bakugo, like, best friend. So he has a mark on Bakugo, he's like, oh shit, bro, you okay? And he's like, oh, damn it, Izuku. And this is when Izuku pretty much just flashes directly beside Aizawa, grabs him, and they flash all the way back to the entrance, right? He's pretty much breathing very, very heavily, and he's not really sure what to do. This is when he starts weaving hand signs, because he can see the Nomu approaching very, very fast. And he finishes his hand signs. He actually would have used Flying Raijin Guiding Thunder, and this would have just put the Nomu back where it started at the start, okay? Putting these black marks that it would have gone through and reappeared at the other end. But that's pretty much all he can really do. He can't really find a way to take care of it permanently. But this is when a door flings open and he says, I am here. And they see All Might. But they're kind of scared because for the first time, he isn't smiling. He then walks down and sees the Nomu, right? And Shigaraki, who is obviously been preparing for this, is like, he's finally here, can finally take care of the #1 hero. And he says, Nomu, get him. And this is when the Nomu and All Might start duking it out, right? Shigaraki then tells Kurogiri to actually open a portal underneath All Might, right? This would have actually caught him. He would have slowly started to sink, right? Izuku, seeing this, would have seen that the Nomu was actually about to punch All Might while he was doing this, and Kurogiri was actually looking to close the portal, right? So him and I'm gonna say Bakugo, through the pure plot armor, would have actually gone back in, right? Bakugo, who was, somewhat somewhat hurt, would have actually still gone in, right? He would have thrown his kunai, grabbed All Might, teleported out of there. And this uncanny time would have been a time when Todoroki would have actually frozen over the Nomu completely, and Bakugo, who was actually unexpected, would have still thrown an explosion, completely shattering it to bits, but he would still regenerate. And they're all just panting. And this is when Izuku's like, All Might, are you okay? And he sees All Might starting to release a bit of steam, and he's confused, because, people don't steam like that normally, right? So he's kind of suspicious, but this is when All Might says, it's okay, thank you, young Midoriya. I'll take it from here, right? And this is when the fight goes exactly to canon, with All Might saying, have you heard these words before, villain? Go beyond, plus ultra. And he would have hit the Nomu directly in the core, sending it directly out of the USJ, maybe even to space. And Shigaraki would have been like, no, you cheated. And he would have tried to rush at All Might. But this is when Aizawa, who was actually not really injured in this one, would have actually used his quirk to deactivate Shigaraki's quirk. And then a bullet would have ran through, and you would see that someone had actually shot Shigaraki. He would look up and he would see that the villains are here, and he's like, surrender. And everyone is, just kind of squandering until Shigaraki turns back and he's like, Kurogiri, get us out of here. And sadly, Izuku was not fast enough to get there in time, and Shigaraki and Kurogiri escaped. After that happens, Izuku, you know, immediately gets Bakugo to what's her name? Recovery Girl, because he has like a fractured, yeah, just like a fractured rib and like some internal bleeding, not too much, but enough that if left alone for too long, it could be fatal. So he gets him directly to Recovery Girl, and he's like, damn, Katsuki, you really did get hit, didn't you? And Katsuki's like, oh, Izuku, shut up. And, you know, they're just kind of joking around, right? Everyone is just kind of surprised, you know, even during these type of things, right? They can still joke around, right? It's kind of lightening the mood. It's kind of like how Sasuke and Naruto do. And, yeah. They would have gone back on the bus, gone back to UA. And from there, Izuku, Bakugo, you know, Ida, Ochaku would have gone home, separated on their ways. Izuku would have told Katsuki about, you know, All Might steaming, but, you know, Katsuki would have just pretty much wrapped it up to being, you know, just overworking himself and overeating. But if it actually is something, then, you know, they should start investigating either way. That's pretty much it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. This is part 3 of What If Deku and the Flying Raijin. I don't kind of like it. It feels kind of rushed, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. Yeah, like I said before, watch out. 2 more videos should be coming out tomorrow. Either part 4 of this, yeah, probably part 4 of this, and also one shot should be